Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. Our big focus this hour, fresh violence has been sparked off in Manipur's Kangpokpi when a protest rally organized by the Committee on Tribal Unity became violent, with protesters attacking the office of the Superintendent of Police of the district by pelting stones and petrol bombs. Vehicles parked within the compound were also vandalized. SP Prabhakar sustained a forehead injury after being hit by a projectile. The mob reportedly acted in protest against continued deployment of central armed forces in the region. Huge contingents of security forces have been deployed to tackle the situation, which is now under control and being closely monitored. Nibir Deka is joining us for more on this story. Nibir, what details can you share with us about this flare-up in the violence in Manipur and what the situation now on ground is today?
Well, the flare-up cannot be seen as an isolated incident. There has been days going since there was protest ever since the matter escalated post-Christmas. And after December 28, we saw the resentment among the Kuki Zoo community getting higher. The main demand for them was to remove the central security forces that were placed in the Saibol area of the Kangpokpi district, and as such they had been protesting. Yesterday we saw a total shutdown of the Kangpokpi district, and we saw how the civil society organization FOTU led this protest, wherein protesters had entered the SP office along with the DC office. They claimed that they were given assurances of the situation, and however after 7 p.m. in the evening, the protesters stormed the SP office, and what led to a scuffle. As per the Manipur police, the protesters had pelted stones that led to the scuffle and injury of policemen. The SP was injured in the scuffle, and several other protesters, including men and women, were injured in this protest. They have again given a 24-hour shutdown today, and they are demanding that the CAPF forces that are installed in the Kangpokpi districts be removed, the BSF along with the CRPF. The security, meanwhile, has been restored and it has been intensified so that the matter can be de-escalated. However, tensions remains there because of the law and order situation. So far today, we have not heard of any incidents of violence, but the heavy deployment of security is still there, and there is tension on ground as the protesters are still camping in some of the areas. So overall, it is a very difficult situation, but the security forces are trying to control and de-escalate matters in Manipur. Back to you.
All right, stay with us. In fact, Nibir, also joining us live now at this point is Major Sudhakarji, defense expert. Major Sudhakarji, quickly bringing you in onto this broadcast regarding this flare-up. What do you make of what caused this in the first place? Should it be looked at isolatedly or with a wider perspective, as Nibir was just saying? Major Sudhakarji, can you hear me? Okay, I don't think we have him just yet. Nibir, let me quickly come back across to you on now. Of course, this the incident now, as far as the security is concerned, is it now being further stepped up in this particular part of Manipur? And well, has the violence spread at all, or is it contained?
Well, there was growing resentment among the Kuki Zoo community when the Assam rifles were removed from some of the posts, and the different central security forces such as the BSF and CRPF were installed in the parts of the hill district. However, and the resentment increased when they started to make protests and saying that they want the CAPF forces to be removed. However, the deployment of security forces was increasing. More and more companies of the central security forces were reinstated in different parts of the state, especially in the hill districts. This led to the scuffle because they alleged that the Kuki community has been targeted by the security forces. Meanwhile, the Manipur police has taken out a statement clearly stating that their protests were disrupted by some of the miscreants in the protest, and as such they had to control the crowd, they had to disperse the crowd, and following which today we have seen that increasing number of security has been deployed in those areas. These areas are very difficult because these areas are part of the hill and the valley peripheries. These are the foothills. As such, they have dense jungles along with difficult geography and terrain, and the challenge is very high. However, the BSF and the CRPF, who are expert and operating in these sort of difficult terrain, they have been deployed heavily. Today, we have not heard of any violence incidents, but there is tensions on the ground. There is growing resentment on the ground. There is already a ban being called for more than 48 hours now, and the entire hill town of Kangpokpi and the peripheral areas of the district has been totally shut down, and as such, on the ground, the situation still remains volatile. Uday.
Okay, let me in fact quickly rope in at this point PK Mishra as well, former additional DG BSF, who's also joining us now live. Big PK Mishra, what has led to this fresh incident of violence, and is this now very concerning once again when we thought the situation was simmering down?
Uday Pratap, yes, I have spoken to Kangpokpi, the CRPF commanders and the BSF commanders personally yesterday and today and just now before half an hour. Things are not good. It's all happened because of the miscreants, and this Kotu, they have gone for a Bandh. They have declared Bandh till tomorrow 1400 hours. And the national NH2, only 3 convoys, today only 3 convoys have passed. One is of army and one BSF was stopped yesterday. And today they stopped CRPF convoy, but after half an hour they allowed it. And in fact, the CRPF convoy was blocked at Jababjang village. And when CRPF commanders, they spoke to them, they allowed the CRPF convoy to pass. At present, just now, before half an hour, about 300 Kotu demonstrators are sitting in Dharna in front of SP's office. Just now, today evening, they are sitting. Their demand is CRPF and BSF or paramilitary forces to be removed. The SP is being pressurized, who was injured yesterday night, that he should remove these paramilitary forces from Saibol village. I will tell you, Uday Pratap, why they are telling paramilitary forces to be removed. I spoke to the commanders of these 2 forces. What these cookie job commanders, they have done, the militants and miscreants, those who are armed by drug lords and also by rebels coming from Myanmar, giving advanced and most advanced weapons to them. They have made various bunkers on 800 meters and 900 meters height on Saibol village, so that they can fire on LMG by light machine guns to these 2 other communities. Various bunkers were made, and that is how those bunkers were taken over. They were being taken over by paramilitary forces so that they cannot occupy it and they cannot utilize it to fire from LMGs and other heavy weapons. Light weapons, there is no problem, but they were using heavy weapons from these bunkers. Some bunkers were demolished and other bunkers were occupied by these paramilitary forces. Now that is what they are, these militants and the miscreants. I am not blaming any community, but they are facing the problem. If this type of deployment remain there, it will be very difficult for a particular community to drive away the other community from there. That is what the problem is there. And I can tell you, Kangpokpi, I have served in Manipur. I was there in Kangpokpi also for 5 years. And I can well tell you, I just spoke to my officers in Kangpokpi. The worst part of it, the SO still is there. It is, you see, the suspension of operation is still there. Today, my commanders were telling, when the ROP was going, within the ROPs, 5 or 6 vehicles of armed militants of Kotu with weapons, they were traveling. The worst part of it, they cannot be apprehended. Now, you cannot fire at them. You cannot apprehend them. The SO is on, you see, SO is on force. The SU is on force. So it's very difficult. You see, we have to think now what is to be done for the SU. If we don't think now, it will be very difficult to control not only Kangpokpi, the Churachandpur, Chandil and Bihang and Sajik Tampak and Chapki Karang and those areas, Tamenglong and those areas. Now NS2 is blocked till 2 p.m. tomorrow, and they are not allowing any vehicles to come till 2 p.m. And the worst part of it, on 31st evening, what has happened in because there were a lot of smoke candle firing by CRPF at all, and some Kotu ladies, they were injured. They want compensation for those ladies also, and That's a different issue about compensation. Main aim is to drive away the CPMF from Kangpokpi. Kangpokpi and Jiribam, they are now two fulcrum areas in Manipur, and they want to hold this because that is the way Jiribam from Silchar axis, and this is all from Dimapur axis. Both of them, they want to keep it under their position. Also, these rebels, those who have come from Myanmar, in fact, degradation of forest is there, poppy cultivation was there, and that is how the drug lords are playing the swords. It has gone to them. So now they are facing the problem when 80,000 troops have gone. Now Kangpokpi and these forces are now climbing the hills. They are taking positions 1 kilometer and 800 meters up from Saibol so that nobody can fire from the hills to the villages. And that's the problem they are facing. And let us see what is happening tomorrow. But today it is all completely calm. And evening, I got the picture also myself. About 300 to 400 protesters are sitting. Though, of course, they are not having any weapons, but they are all in commando dresses. They are sitting in front of SP's office, shouting slogans, remove CFPF from Saibol, remove CFPF from Saibol. This is what is happening today. And let us see tomorrow till 2 p.m. what is happening there. I'm very sure now the new governor has gone. Earlier, the governor himself was not finding time to come to Manipur because he was governor for both Assam and Manipur. And of course, with so many forces now, 80,000 forces, they have gone to Manipur. Things will be much better. But there are 3 points which the security forces, the government should do. Number one is a border guarding force has to be deployed in Manipur, Myanmar border in BOP concept, border outpost concept like Bangladesh border and Pakistan border. Number two, the fencing of Myanmar, Manipur border should be the first target of our government. Of course, we have made about 60 kilometer fencing, but about 438 kilometer fencing has to be made as quickly as possible. Third thing is all those hilltops from where the firing is coming in Saibong, Churachandpur, Chandel, and Kangpokpi, Jiribam, all those hilltops should have a platoon strength of paramilitary force so that they cannot climb, they cannot utilize these hilltops to fire on these national highways and block the national highways. That has to be done. I hope the present commanders are definitely, they are much better. They know the terrain pretty well. Things will definitely normalize. And let's see what is the government's role, particularly about the Sioux. That you see, we have to see what because of the Sioux, which came to effect 22nd of August 2008. These militants, they got a lot of arms. They were supplied for Myanmar and they tried their best to have one new administration and new state for them. And that's the problem. So whether we'll continue with the Sioux now or it has to be banned, let us see, it depends upon the government. Now, of course, the new governor is there, and let me hope that he can manipulate, and the peace process, in the meantime, peace process should continue. But I'm telling you, Kangpokpi, because I have served in Kangpokpi, and I'm telling you, Kangpokpi is not that a difficult district to control. It's very easy. It's very easy. If you have a real deployment on all the hilltops, Kangpokpi can be controlled in 24 hours if we really think to do it with so many forces. And we must keep the national highway open by any means. That is what I want to tell you, Uday Pratap Singh. And my men, in fact, I am already through to Kangpokpi. Every half an hour I'm speaking. I just spoke to SP's office there. What is happening in SP's office in Kangpokpi? I thought of telling you.
Okay, let me quickly, in fact, also take that now to Puaja Goite, president of the KSO Delhi. There is, of course, a cookie organization. Mr. Goite, this is a very concerning development. What triggered this violence? What was the need to get violent and injure an SP as well on the occasion?
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. The incident flared up this far because it's primarily because of the centers and the CPF and the CM's attempt, an infamous attempt to breach to bridge the buffer zone. Buffer zone. It's the Union Home Minister Amit Shah ji who came up with his own idea to create this concept of buffer zone. Now he has reneged on his own promise by giving instruction directive to the BSF commandant to go and bridge the buffer zone, because the BSF commandant himself said the direction or directives came from the Ministry of Home Affairs. So I have to occupy this Saibol post. It's very unfortunate. His infamous statement saying, "This is my country." Who the hell is he? We are all Indians. Why he's saying, "This is my country"? This has destroyed the very idea of India. The father of the nation says, India lives in her village. So whenever you talk about India, it always starts with village. So first of all, we have to protect village, which is Saibol, through Saibol post. We have to protect this. This is very unfortunate. The BSF commandant, not only this, even he has even meted out a physical assault on the Kuki community women. So as per the tribal Kuki customary practices, he has to say sorry and he has to be taken out of this buffer zone. He cannot occupy this because this is tribal land. This is a village. With this village comes the idea of India. The idea of India has to be intact. So buffer zone has to remain. It's very unfortunate, and this is a clear indication of a systematic attempt or target by the CM and Amit Shah's nexus or CFPF nexus or Central Force nexus to exploit and annihilate and politically discriminate the tribal Kuki people. This should not be done. Very unfortunate. So all this has flared up into attacking the SP office. It's not a mob attack. The topic says it's mob attack, but for me, it's not a mob attack, it's public attack. The way how we responded to this violence was or has been public in nature or people's in nature. It's not crowd, because it's a public movement. The people together, they storm at the SP office because he did not execute, the SP did not execute his promise. He was given a 2-hour ultimatum, but he did not execute his promise. Even third hour, 3 hours was given. Even in that third hour, he did not execute. So the last resort was to go and express their dissent in any way possible. So it's very unfortunate. Cyber village has to be protected, and CAPF or Central Forces, BSF or CRPF, they have to go back, and the Kuki women, they have to go and sleep peacefully in their own village without any fear, psychosis in their mind.
Okay, let me in fact quickly take that across to our other guest as well, who's live with us, Kesham Kishan. He's an advocate, High Court, Manipur. He's from the Meitei community. Mr. Kishan, another flare-up here. This is being blamed on the Kukis there in the area. However, of course, there is a wider story to it. That is what the ground reports are saying. It should not be seen isolatedly. But Mr. Kishan, this any sort of flare up in the violence right now would be very concerning, isn't it? What do you believe caused this in the first place?
Let me put it this way, that any lives and property of the citizen in the state and in this country should be protected, and the state as well as central security forces must take utmost responsibility to protect the lives and property of the people, of every citizen. Let me put a little bit elaboration what was the cause of that situation, what is happening in so-called the Saibol area in the Kangpokpi district. So on the day of Good Governance Day, also the Christmas 25, that some armed miscreant from the hillside injured 4 villagers including a woman and journalist and police commando state force and some called village volunteer on the day of Christmas, which there was a gunshot from the hillside. That as some of our guests are saying that hills, they means that it's a cyborg post he is referring. Actually, that hills is locally known as Uyokjing in Meitei Manipuri language. It's near to Sanasabi, which Uyokjing is the place where villagers of Sanasabi collect firewoods for the charcoal during for winter season and fodder for their cattle and goats, etc. So Saibol village is in fact in the valley, and there is a separated by these hills called Uyokjing. In that Uyokjing presently is referred to as Saibol, that the Songkuki armed mission has built up all the bunkers. That's what the people are that the Kuki women are protesting against against as the Central Armed Force were destroying those illegal bunkers. From that bunkers only, it has been firing, sheltering guns and bombs towards the Sanasabi and Kangpokpi village. That's what's happening on the ground. So for that, again, forces there, again, there is also some cross firing might have been that I don't know what could possibly in this hour. So there is a continuous operations, joint operation with the state force and the central force on the Meitei side in the village like Kangpokpi, Kangpokpi, and Sanasa. There is a complete operation is going on to collect all the weapon who is having. So same thing was about to happen in so-called Saibol village. So Central Armed Force were entering in those area and they were removing those bunkers. So that's the reason for that. Those women were protesting the arm against the security person, and in fact, those protesters were removing the. As per the news report, I'm telling that the belongings of the security camps, those they had put out a net and something like that, they have been removing all the belongings of security forces. So the security force has no option but to sell tear gas and something like that, so that the villagers go away to their place. That's what the really scuffle is going on. And if we look at the situation, what was happened yesterday, one can say that we have seen though people are referring that the Kogdu-led or they have been protesting, there we can see there is lots of arms with AK-47, and there are many sophisticated weapons, which even I don't know which all are type of weapons we do. Even I don't know. I don't think that the sort of similar situation which one happened on 3rd January is the similar situation that happened in 3rd of May in Churanchandpur. That sort of, it's quite a similar. So if the state or center has little hearts upon on 3rd of May, that the present crisis would not happen, I think. Yesterday, I think the central force and state force were good enough to at least subdue the mob and control the situation that need to be taken, would have been taken by the state as well as in the 3rd of May, that crisis would have been prevented. And referring to the General Misra, I would also like to add that in the Kangpokpi district, as per the news source I'm telling, there is a armed group, Kuki National Army KNA, who is the armed wing of Kuki National Front, which has signed with suspension of operation with the central government of India and Manipur, which Manipur government has withdrawn recently. If they have the sue with the state, with the central government, the central force and state force won't be able to do anything. Even the Meitei have no option. Before the 3rd of May, Meitei have no weapons at all. But there was a continuous sheltering from the foothills and entering the Meitei village. But we cannot defend with knife, stick, and stone with such sophisticated weapon. So they have no option to take the arms from the police station. But most of them police station happen to be transferred to the hills area. I don't know how it has happened. So
No,
there
no.
is need to think that in the that such sorts of activity has happened. And also I would like to add that further that that on the that 27th of May, 28th of May to 28th of April 2003, that similar crisis has already happened in Churanchapur. A gym was burned down, which was supposed to be inaugurated by our chief minister. And on 3rd of May, before or after nearly around 12:30, a forest office was burned down. Some Kuki arms group or military, it may be civilian, I don't know. And several other government office where buildings were burned down. Even recently on 4th of February, I think February 2024, I think 24, I think that mini secretariat in Churanchapur were also burned down. That this, simmering tension has been continued.
Mr. Kishan, I'm afraid we're running out of time, so I'm going to have to quickly come in there. Yes, okay, Mr. Kishan, 20 seconds, please wrap up in 20 seconds. Yes, Mr. Kishan.
Kuki are also frailing up this situation. They are asking to go violence activity so that their demands could be made.
Okay.
So there is need for among the Kuki group. There is
I know, Mr. Goite, you want to respond, but then it'll be a back and forth, and it'll go on. Unfortunately, I need to get in Major General Sudhakar ji as well. He's been waiting patiently.
I want to say something about.
Okay, Mr. Goite. Okay, 10 seconds. Yes.
Or about KNF who came down from the hills. It was the KNF just because of them that the people, the cacophony was doused. Not because they came down to shoot at the police.
Okay, Major General Sudhakar ji, how do we diffuse the situation now? Moving forward, what should be the priority in diffusing the situation now further? Major General Sudhakar ji, the floor is yours. Very quickly, I'm running out of time. I believe we had a network issue with you, but yes, I believe you're back with us now.
The angers are actually, going through the roof. It's well understood, fully appreciate. My recommendation is what ADG Police has, the BSF has given out, Mr. Mishra. I tend to agree with him. There are issues related to, firstly, short term, medium term, and long term. In short term, we need to actually contain the situation so that it doesn't flare up. There is a top leadership who is being placed. The new governor is in chair since yesterday. We need to give him time. And number two, the national highway must be opened at the earliest. As far as the medium and long-term issues are concerned, there is an issue related to SOO. I personally feel when the stakeholders, party to the SOO, are having the freedom to move around with arms with them, and like Mishraji covered that in the convoy they are marching, then I think there is a need to revisit. We need to pick up those themes and address them so that it empowers the security apparatus. Plus the long-term issue like fencing of the border, the checking of illegal arms. The first and foremost thing which comes to my mind is that we need to disarm all the people who are armed with looted weapons and ammunition. And we also need to have a grievances cell. What comes to my mind is the cookies have got a grievance. Unless the grievances are addressed, the bunkers have got some relevance and meaning. We need to give a holistic kind of a redressal to their aspiration. Unless we assure them that their lives are not in danger, those kind of issues have to be taken into consideration. Last but not the least, Manipur issue is going to linger on. Uday, as per my assessment, a holistic approach has to be taken, wherein the government has to come down heavily or in a pliable mode so as to listen to the people. I personally feel that somehow the warring factions are not being heard enough, and the solutions which are available at the grassroots are not being resorted to. Bipartisan decisions have to be taken. Hard decisions have to be taken. In the independent India of 76 years or 77 years now, I personally feel it's been too long. This simmering violence is being allowed to further flare up in Manipur. It's a dangerous thing taking place. India as a central power, as a democratic country, needs to look into all the issues in a holistic manner and bring peace back to Manipur at the earliest. Back to you there.
Okay, let's quickly leave it at that. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us on this discussion. Taking a short break.